Hi, and welcome back to Project Based Learning. Today we're going to talk about, or this week we're going to talk about what is my driving question. So we're actually going to start formulating our driving question here in Module 3. Again, this is the observation stage where we're starting to create our driving question and really think how we're going to structure our project. So to recap, our driving question should have four main components. It should have some framing words of framing it into a question like, how do I, or how can I, or could we, what can I do? It should also include you or we, or if you're talking about a larger group, like how can we as a society, or how could young people. So we want to make sure we have a person or identity, and that can include we or you or I if I was creating my own project. And then some action or challenge questions. Build, create, make, solve, encourage. We're looking for verbs or actions that are going to broaden our project. And then finally, the fourth one is what kind of audience are we going to gear our project or problem towards? Is it going to solve some type of problem for young people or for our community? Think largely. I mean, yes, you can make your project geared towards yourself or your family, but then how could you expand it to be bigger than that? Could it be applied to a community? Could it be applied to a classroom? Those are the things that are really going to take our driving question and make it larger, make it so we can do some additional research and really enhance those learning goals that we might have in our project. And of course, allow us to dive deeper into finding resources, into making it more meaningful as a whole. So, some things that you should think about if you're struggling with your driving question. If you're struggling with the creating your driving question, I'm going to move myself over here. Um, think about goals or things that you would like to know about a specific topic. So, think about our module 2. What were some of your interests that you might have pertaining to your topic? Think about some of the things that you listed. Could you incorporate those into your driving questions? So, for example, if my topic was horseback riding, let's say I was working with a community partner and learning about horses or equestrian riding or how to take care of horses. Some goals I might have might be improve proper form, schedules, benefits of riding, types of horseback riding, or horses in general, care of horses, or low numbers of youth in equestrian riding, and why are those numbers low? So, those were just things that I came up with in Module 2 pertaining to my topic of horseback riding. Now, there might be a lot more that I come across with, but at least it allows me to start thinking about some driving questions. So, here's a sample question that might be something that comes from my interests or the things that I need to know or some goals that I have pertaining to my topic. How do I encourage young people to try horseback riding? Now, that seems pretty general. And yes, it's not Googleable. Like, I can't just quickly Google and find like one single answer. There's probably a broad range of answers that I could find. However, this question might include. So this question might incorporate or at least raise questions about what is a young person. So maybe I have to define what a young person is and why I chose young people. Obviously, if I was your age, maybe that's something that really interests me. Like, especially if I'm into horseback riding and I see or I'm talking with my community partner about the dwindling participation in young people in equestrian riding, or at least in my area. Maybe that's something that I also want to raise. And then also, what types of media could I help get the word out to help encourage? So, encourage could be a broad spectrum. Like, how do I encourage people? Well, could I encourage them through social media? Could I encourage them through a YouTube channel? Could I encourage them through finding information that's geared towards young people? Maybe I want to find out, like, um, what are some problems for young people in terms of participating in horseback riding. Maybe it's something that there's just not a lot of knowledge about. Maybe there's scheduling issues and driving, and that you're competing with traveling teams for sports. Maybe there's quite a few factors that play into encouraging young people. And so, obviously, that's something that I can look into as well. And then some things I also might want to consider while I'm thinking about my driving question is how could I create a YouTube channel um, as a video of me writing, interviews, and other research that could benefit the importance of writing. So that doesn't mean I have to make a YouTube video, but that's obviously something that I could create. That's an actionable challenge that I might have. So within my driving question, I'm finding things that I can create, do. Um, to help answer my driving question or to help solve that problem in terms of communicating information. Now, obviously the YouTube channel isn't the only thing that's going to be the end result of my project. I mean, just like in my example for Module 2, where I said I was going to be building a bee house, that's not just my final project. I have to do the research in what does that mean? Why would I build a bee house? For this one, why would I build a YouTube channel? Or why would I create let's say you're in art, why would you create a gallery walk for the public? Or how could I do or why would I have a public um, performance? Maybe I'm doing ballet or I'm doing playing the piano. What are some things I can encourage people to come out and see me perform? So, again, it's not just the end result of performing or creating or building, but it's also how do you encourage the public or how do you get more information out there about your topic. So keep that in mind as you're building your driving question. And then finally, some things to think about or recap about your driving question. Is it Googleable? Can it be Googled? Hopefully not, at least not with one simple Google or two simple Googles where I can find the answers. I want not only um, opinions maybe that are out there that you research, but also your opinions. Like what makes this a good topic? Why are you doing this? And then is it focused on your interests? Of course, you should have other interests that go underneath your main topic. So if your topic is botany, hopefully you have interests that go inside of that big umbrella of botany. Botany is a huge topic. So hopefully you have additional interests that help support your driving question that are under that main title or that main topic. And then do you have multiple goals or things you need or want to know that would help answer your driving question? So, not only should you have multiple goals or things you need to know or want to know about your topic, but are there also things that you need to know or goals you might have that go into building, creating, or having that action or challenge in solving your problem? So, it can just not, or it can be not only about the main topic. So, like for example, if my topic was on learning how to speak Spanish or learning about the Spanish culture, what are some other goals that I might have? Maybe I want to have a conversation. Or how do I teach young people to have a basic conversation about something like if I was traveling to Mexico or traveling to Spain, could I then have some goals in creating like a travel log or a quick travel conversation where students or people my age could learn how to speak just some basic conversation Spanish that go along with maybe I'm learning about the culture. Um, so think about how you can broaden that umbrella a little bit. How can you make it a little bit wider or general and then put some things underneath there that also have multiple goals or interests that you might have. We will be looking at your driving question this week and definitely giving you feedback. So be sure that when you start creating your driving question, you think about your goals, you think about the things that you did in module 2 as far as listing those interests, some things that maybe go with your project as you're starting to think about your project and how your driving question and your project go together. And then we're going to be giving you feedback. So that way, if we need to step back a little bit, redefine your driving question before you really start into your project, or if you've started working on your project and getting those resources, how we can redefine your driving question so that way it's something that helps you dive a little bit deeper into your resources, into enhancing this experience and opportunities. So again, if you have any questions, be sure to ask. But hopefully this week you're starting to actually have your driving question. Look for the assignment. We'll be in Schoology, and this is going to be actually creating your driving question. So this is where we actually write down our driving question. Again, it has to have or it should have these 4 stages of your driving question, like as far as framing those words, making sure it has a person or identity, like how can I or how can we, and then have some actions or challenges, create or encourage or make or solve this certain problem for a certain purpose, whether it's an audience in large, like a school or city or young people, or my community, or if it just solves some problem. So, again, take a look at these, make sure that your question is in fact a question, and then go to Schoology and you will see your assignment. And I can't wait to see your driving questions. And I will definitely, or someone on our team, will give you some feedback about your driving questions sometime, hopefully next week, early next week, to help steer you and guide you into creating our projects. So, again, this is going to be we're creating our driving question. Module 4 is going to be more about the investigation portion, where we move now to taking what we know or thinking of taking what we think we know and starting to really investigate and dive in deeper to help solve our problem. So, good luck and look forward to talking to you all next module.